It's less spicy. Honey, yeah. I started with a honey garlic bread.
That's what we
are. Their candidate for Prime Minister, Bibi Netanyahu. So have a listen and a watch, and there is English subtitles.
لازم نبيت البيبي سيتر
بيبي
So I thought it was very funny when I saw it. It pokes fun at like some recent current events, political current events in Israel. When it talks about Bougie, it's Isaac Herzog. Bougie's his nickname. He runs the Labour Party. And when he's talking about Tzipi, he's talking about Tzipi Livni. Tzipi Livni is the person who runs the Hatnua party. Yeah, Hatnua. Though she has been involved with many different political parties in the past 15 years. She was a Likudnik. Then she moved off to Kadima with Ariel Sharon, and then she moved off to Hatnua. So in the past 15 years, she's moved to 3 different political parties. So that's why he's poking fun, and he says, oh, she's going to go to a different house, like 2 hours in the same spot. So I thought that was fun. So basically, all these political parties are vying for the leadership of Israel in 2015. So everyone knows that, Israel exists, obviously. So the state of Israel in 2015. So Israel has issues like every single country in the world, but it has a lot of problems. I would say that it has problems that some don't have. So at this point, I've chosen to do this. It looks very negative. There's always some good parts of Israel, obviously, but this is to show the issues that will come up during this election, that are coming up. So Israel suffers from huge social fragmentation. Obviously, everyone has seen the protests, the Haredi protests. About the conscription crisis there. There's issues between the religious and the less religious, the Arabs and the Jews. So immense social fragmentation. Of course. I looked for other people that I might know running trips, but there's no one quite like Gerza running trips. I heard there was like 3.4 million people who actually visited Israel in 2013. So that's a huge source of tourism. So I think that's still pretty exceptional, given the issues that the country has. So Israel has had a long political and democratic history. The Zionist movement is rooted in democratic values and socialist values also, I would say. Here, this is a picture of David Ben-Gurion, and he was the leader of the Mapai Party. The Mapai Party was, as we know them today, the Avodah, Labor Party of Israel. And they dominated politics for, I would say, the first 30 years of Israel's existence until the 1970s, when you started to have a right-wing government by the Likud come in, led by Menachem Begin. So in the 1940s, right when Israel had its first connected elections, once again, it was like left-wing dominated. Flag, you don't really see blue and white, where you see with the rest, which are the colors of Israel. You see green, white, black, and red, which are the colors of the Palestinian flag. So you can kind of get an idea to who they identify with. In this alliance, you have just to name some. You have some who want to destroy the Zionist occupation of Palestine. You have a communist Arab party, and some who believe in the existence of the state of Israel, albeit they all push for negotiations with the Palestinians. So, just into some current developments. Just a few hours ago, actually. I guess this time, like around 7 p.m. in Israel, this is a massive rally that the Likud party had, and you also see some Bayit Yehudi flags because the Bayit Yehudi have said that they would support Bibi if he was chosen to be president, and they would go into a coalition with him. And you just see how much support these parties have, and how important democracy and how important elections are to the Israeli public. There's some issues here. Like, a lot of people, for example, care about settlement building in the West Bank. They believe that Jews should be able to live wherever they want in the greater land of Israel. So that's obviously a huge issue for a lot of people, and they're very scared that for these people, that a left-wing government would come in and tell them to evacuate settlements in the West Bank. So on the note of negotiations with the PA, and this is going to lead us to our first couple questions. Before I get to the negotiations with the PA, everyone was given a slip of paper. It should be either beside or underneath your plates, okay? And you guys also have pens. So on the sheet it says elections for the 20th Knesset of the State of Israel, and it's dated Tuesday, March 13th, because those are the elections of Israel. And there's a question here. So for example, should Israel engage in negotiations for the creation of a Palestinian state in the territory in the West Bank? So based on how you would approach this issue, you can choose 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1, strongly in favor, all the way to 5, strongly against. So when we get to the question, you can write this down. You can circle which one you would approve with, and at the end, it will coordinate with something you'll see. Say the number they circled. You go depends on the settlement, right? So, and I guess that would be like in favor to not want it.
I just think that it was very there they were in a situation, but in the West Bank,
There's a couple more minutes. So I think it makes.
It's possible.
But like I think the deportations are to Gaza, to my knowledge.
And just a further stress point, it's like, he said, if they're kind of even detached. Well, what if they're not detached? If the father, he knows he has like a house of 12, and he goes and does something heinous, right? But the kids and the wife and the dog and the grandmother and everyone all be penalized because of his one actions if they didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. It's collective punishment, and as a result, it's bad. So, okay.
So I think most of us can agree that house demolitions are not good. I think a lot of us look at it as like a retributive measure. We'll look at it as a retributive measure. I'll get to you, Jordan, in a second. As a retributive measure, if we look at it from the other perspective, that it prevents terror from occurring, and not just like wanton, I want to just go and destroy this Palestinian's home because my sister was stabbed. I think we should look at it in the way that they think that it would prevent the stabbing from occurring rather than doing it because the stabbing has occurred. So that's a point. So I need to get to Jordan, then we need to move on.
So I was going to say what you just said.
Okay. So, Callie?
Couldn't you make the argument that as well that it wouldn't even prevent it, it would make it worse by creating further radicalization and making people even crazier?
Yeah, and that's why people don't believe in house demolitions, for the most part. Other than the fact that it looks really bad on CNN. Okay, so I also hope that you guys are all keeping track of your mock Israeli ballot. Okay, so another big issue in this election, something that happened recently, is this idea to put into law that Israel is a Jewish state. Now it says that Israel is a nation state for the Jewish people in the Israeli Declaration of Independence. However, this is not a legally binding document. If Israel were to have a constitution, it would be the basic laws. And they want to add, Israeli lawmakers, many of them, people on the Likud and the Jewish Home on the right, want to add the Jewish state bill to declare Israel a Jewish state, to protect any sense of a binational state ever occurring, which would mean a state where Palestinians or Arabs or anybody who is not Jewish from emigrating and demographically destroying the Jewish majority, to make Israel, for all intents and purposes, not a Jewish state because the majority of people who live there are not Jewish. So that's the whole idea behind the Jewish state bill. Now there's people who say that there's no point of doing it, well there's people who say that it's important to do it. I think it's important to note that not only Jews live in Israel, so how can we really call it a Jewish state, although there's a majority of Jews? I like to look at the shot glass. I have one at my house, and I think it's very, very funny. Just because this reminds me of the ice creams that, or the ice creams that people buy in Israel, the avatiach ones, and it also represents everyone in Israeli society. You know, like you know, the old bubi is over here, the chassid is over here, the kibbutznik here, and also the Arab. So, although 3/4 of Israel are Jewish, there is a quarter that is Arab, and they take offense to the calling of a Jewish state. And the Arab Unity Party, a guy named Ahmed Tibi is a MK for an Arab party. He's particularly gone against this bill. So I think this question should go and be posed to you as Jews in the diaspora. We have a connection to Israel because we're Jews. So Israel should and forever define itself as a Jewish state. Do you agree? Are you opposed? Are you against this? So let us know, and you can discuss it amongst yourselves.
Jew. Yeah, it should be a Jew.
As a biased or unbiased?
I'm extremely
Look in the future. I like to have incoming the past year, perhaps in every one. Would you give us a